What is going on, everybody? I've had my eye on Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door for quite some time. Usually when I go back and visit games, I usually bring up like a bunch of lists of like masterpiece games, top 100 games of all time, and that's actually how I play a lot of like games that I want to play on a backlog. Like one of my favorite series of all time is just from like looking at a list like that, being Castlevania. Just seen that Symphony of the Night should be played at least once in your life, checked it out, played all them after, and it became like one of my favorite series ever, Castlevania. And Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door has been on so many lists over the years that I was always tempted to try it out. And I actually did try and play it like a year and a half ago. I managed to get a copy to just play in my Wii. I played it for like half an hour and couldn't really get into it. Maybe I wasn't feeling it that weekend or something. Finally, with this remake actually being announced, I thought this was the perfect opportunity to actually pick this game up, get around to it, get to playing it and see what all the fuss is about. I'm not going to beat around the bush, I'm just going to come out and say it right now. My overall feelings for the game so far from how much I've played, I'm not enjoying it. It's boring. I think this could be one of the most boring games I've played of recent memory, and I'm not saying that to upset anybody. I'm just trying to like get an overall opinion of like how I should take this game going forward. At the end of the day, it's not like I don't want to like the game. I absolutely do want to like the game. I've actually played the game for, I think, about 8 hours now. Within the sessions that I've had, I've played the game for a grand total of 8 hours, and I'm not finding the game getting any better for myself. I won't hide the fact that I am more of an overall 3D Mario fan. I never had a SNES growing up, so I never played a lot of 2D Mario. Could be one of the reasons why I don't play a lot of 2D Mario now. Games like Super Mario Wonder, doesn't really interest me, you know. That so-called Mario charm that everybody talks about when they talk about Mario, I don't really have any feelings towards that charm. Probably because I never grew up with the character. My first Mario was Mario 64, and I genuinely find it one of the best games I've ever played and changed gaming going forward. I still play that game maybe once a year, I find it so good. Didn't really dig Sunshine too much. I absolutely love Galaxy as well. I hope we get a Galaxy 3 one day, but my overall thing I'm saying here is I'm more of a 3D Mario guy, and I've never really played a lot of the side games that Mario's had over the years. Although last year, I actually picked up Super Mario RPG Remake, and I didn't find the game amazing or anything, but I found it pretty good, and I actually enjoyed the combat of that game, and I found kind of like an enjoyment of a story that was able to be told within the Mario world, something I'd never really seen before, because your average Mario story is just Peach baking a cake, right? That's how it works. That's what a lot of people like about some of these side Mario games, is they actually have stories told within the Mario world, and I can understand why people would like that. I did like the aspect of it for Super Mario RPG, and I'll tell you another thing I really liked. I actually really quite liked the combat. I liked how fast-paced it was. I overall enjoyed everything about Super Mario RPG. I liked walking about the world, the land, getting a look at Mario's world from another perspective entirely, and it kind of felt like a little free roaming world game as well, and I appreciated that about it. When it comes to the Thousand Year Door, and some of the stuff that I don't like about it right off the bat for me is the combat. I just cannot get into the combat at all. I mean, I absolutely love turn-based games. Some of my more recent favourite turn-based games that I've played are games like Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. Maybe an unfair comparison, but when you're coming off games like that, which are some of the best turn-based games that I think have probably ever been made, and then you're coming on to something like Mario and the Thousand Year Door, which is so lackluster in terms of what is going on in the fighting, I mean, I genuinely don't understand why it takes 30 seconds to kill an average mob in this game. That just slows the pace down of the game entirely. One of the things that I loved about Super Mario RPG, and I appreciated this, and it wasn't in the original, this is something that they done for the remake, was that they added the splash damage for perfect timing on mobs or any attack that you made, and it meant shooting through trash was very easy, and I appreciated that, because not a lot of people want to spend a minute on a trash mob or anything like that, which surprises me that for this Thousand Year Door remaster remake, that they've actually not got any quality of life feature like that within the game where we can kind of just like rush through a little crappy mob. I don't know if they want us to be totally engaged in everyone we fight, but I found myself skipping mobs because I genuinely didn't want to spend like 30 seconds killing them. I just wanted to like move on with the story a little bit. And I think you've got a genuine issue with your combat when you've got people feeling like that. Now, I do feel like it's a wee bit unfair because these games are not here to appeal to 30-year-old dudes like myself, and I completely appreciate that. At the end of the day, these games are made for kids. I'm just saying that it sucks that I don't enjoy it like what everybody else is talking about, like that this game is a masterpiece. My main issue with the game so far is combat, obviously, but I'm really no digging and exploring the world as much as I thought I would, because when it comes to like Mario RPG, I actually did quite like roaming around the Mushroom Kingdom in that game, getting a little look at the areas and being like, oh, this is Mario's house, this is cool, this is Bowser's castle, cool. But like when it comes to so far what I've seen in like Mario and the Thousand Year Door, you know, we're kind of just like roaming around the sewers and stuff, which is like kind of like a really boring opening for the game as far as I'm concerned. So like this game is pretty slow. I would actually say like this game overall is a really slow start. And because I've gave the game like 8 hours, I'm kind of like wondering, is the game worth keeping on going? How often do people actually give, like how long do you guys give a game when you first get a game and you're like, okay, if I'm not digging it within the first 8 hours, maybe like 10 hours you give a game before you give up on it? What is the threshold for a lot of people? It's just that the gameplay that I've played so far for this game doesn't really do a lot for me to keep on playing, you know? Overall, that's where I am after the first couple of days with Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Feeling a little bit disappointed. Don't feel like I've wasted money or anything, because I actually got a little bit of money off. And if I actually didn't get that money off, I wouldn't have bought it in the first place. I probably would have just went back to playing the original at some point down the line. But that's where I am. You know, it kind of like sucks when a game gets re-released and it's said to be one of the greatest games of all time. You get around to playing it, and you really just don't see what the fuss is about. There's not a lot of stuff that you like in the game. This happens to everyone, you know? Unfortunately, it feels like this has happened with me in the Thousand Year Door. I just don't really have Mario's charm to like boost me through one of his games. I just don't have that, you know? I used to have a bit of that for stuff like Sonic, until I really got over how bad his games later became. And I'm okay admitting that, you know, as I used to be a Sonic fan, but a lot of the newer games just do not cut the mustard. And I'm okay saying that to myself. Doesn't bother me. Other people still like his games, and that's fine. I'm not here to ruin anyone's fun, you know? That's just how I'm feeling about Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door here. Could be a lot of nostalgia, obviously clouding this game. I mean, the game is like 20 years old, and I've not really added any quality of life updates to this game. Like I say, adding the ability to kill mobs a little bit faster would have made it so much easier and more fun to play just progressing through the world. I think would have been a nice quality of life. Let me know what you think though. Do you usually give a game a certain amount of time before you call it quits? Overall though, I mean, I'd be lying to myself if I said I was not bored of this game. You know, I'm kind of struggling. There's not really been anything about the game I have liked other than the fact that there's this little dude in the town that said he was playing the GBA, and then he said he was playing the N64, then the GameCube. I was like, that's cool. That is like the only thing I've liked about the game. Anyway guys, don't get too offended. Take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one.